Watch me backflip, watch me backflip, let me work my magic. Ta! WarnerBros Animation and Netflix produced Green Eggs and Ham, a series based on a very classic Dr. Seuss book, and it was mighty impressive in my humble opinion. Yeah, I dug that series a lot. The script was really good. It really made deep characters, and that was amazing to me. Now, being a Dr. Seuss property, it's funny because Dr. Seuss can actually be read by adults. Despite its weird, fuzzy appearance, it is actually incredibly cynical and wise. And I really appreciate that. And it promotes critical thinking, and I just really appreciate that from Dr. Seuss literature. Though most people probably remember it from its weird and very liberal use of rhyming. There's a what's it in the closet, or it makes sense in the book, I guess. Yeah, Dr. Seuss is mostly remembered for being absolutely silly, but if you actually read the books, they're very, cynical, and that's what makes them such wonderful reads. In this series, it captured that really, really well. It had all kinds of whimsy out the wazoo and out the who's, and then it had really deep disappointment, as life does and as Dr. Seuss wanted to promote. So the first one was a buddy comedy about, Sam I Am and Guy Am I. It wasn't just about, one trying a new food. No, it was a big adventure about running from bad guys, meeting new friends, and just surviving on a daily basis. The third one is the hardest, I think we can all agree. And, they made it so interesting just because these two characters had amazing chemistry. I really loved it. I loved what Guy Am I brought out in Sam I Am, and vice versa. I liked how they interacted with other characters when they were together and separate. It was just really, really well done characters. And that's really important to me in an animated feature. Now, the absolutely wacky world they live in, how everything can be taken so literal, or you shouldn't take things for granted and such, that was really tricky to play with, and sometimes it is tiring. And it's okay, this is why we think kids can watch it, but sometimes it's just wacky fun. And sometimes it sneaks in a little dry humor that you can appreciate. But yes, the show had a lot of twists, a lot of aha moments, and that's why I was so excited for a second season. And then, things happen. You have to wait and wait. Your excitement kind of dulls over time because you're it's never going to happen. And then it happens. Now, when the trailer came out, I could not, record my reaction because my tablet was broken and I was just cut off. And believe me, those months where I was cut off were painful because as much as I love animation, I don't have that many people around me that love it, and not talking about it hurt my core. God, painful. But now I've seen it and I have opinions, and it wasn't as good as the first season. That doesn't mean it was bad, it just wasn't as good. Which is tricky when you want to make a sequel to something good. You don't necessarily want to just rehash exactly what the first one was, because that's why people just rewatch the first one. You don't want to make it completely different than what it was, because then people aren't watching the same thing. It's really tricky to expand something while keeping to what people like. Yeah, which is why sequels, always dangerous. For fans, for entertainment, it's dangerous. And this one, I didn't get the whole slice of the pie that I wanted. I got a smaller fraction. Is it good for my health? Not really. No, if I'm going to eat pie, it's going to have whipped cream on it. This pie, this second season, was a little creamless. It had bits of flavor, but not the full cream. Okay, what am I talking about? Well, for one, instead of the happy opening theme song from the guy from Weezer, watch me backflip, let me work my magic, let me work. That song is bouncy, it is witty, it is got a lot of punches, and the melody really pops. That fits the first season really well and gets you excited. And then the second one, now because this was an entire homage to classic spy movies, James Bond in particular, it was going for a more somber sort of ambiance, and they wrote a very beautiful song for the first one, but I don't know, the mood of it mixed with Dr. Seuss stuff, it felt weird. It was odd. It was better kind of in the middle of the season when the story was really picking up, but I don't know, it kind of took me down because while it was very well animated, absolutely, I don't know, the deepness of the song and its silly animation style, I don't know, it just didn't really fit to me. There are spoilers, keep in mind, there'd be nothing fun to talk about if I couldn't spoil it. But going through, this one is now about Sam I Am and how he finally meets his mom, who abandoned him as a baby and his whole life has been obsessed with meeting her. He meets her and she is an incredibly dry and cynical spy, secret agent woman. Secret agent woman. Yeah. And her incredibly, flat personality in comparison to Sam I Am was like when he first met Guy, and Sam just comes off as incredibly annoying through the whole season, and that I didn't like. I didn't like not liking Sam because I liked Sam very much. Though keep in mind, was Guy got through to Sam I Am because he had the patience and such. Now, the reward I got from the end of season 1, where Sam and Guy were actually talking honestly to each other like two adults, we could not get from Sam because this is kind of Sam's default when he's meeting new people. He wants to be happy because he thinks that attracts people. And I get it. I've been told recently that when I'm happy, it seems false and that turns people off. Sam, yeah, it does that to you. And the beautiful chemistry you have with Guy is kind of split because of story reasons. That actually makes sense, sure. But I missed you two. I missed you two hanging out. Maybe it's because I ship you. I don't know if I feel that strong about it, but I missed you guys. I missed how Guy actually brought out the adult in Sam. The deep thinker, the sensitive person he is. Sam's mom, Pam, kind of just got the annoying person that she has to tolerate. Is Sam a useless character? No, absolutely not. But to get past his goofy walls, it takes work, and Pam I Am did not have that time. That's why she gave you up in the first place. She has a serious job. She's trying to prevent war, please give the weapon to the other side. The really interesting part about it all was Pam doesn't really care about good and evil. She just kind of wants to do her job and fulfill her request from who's paying her. Now, as somebody who works in the adult world, totally fair. I don't care. I do not. It was a very subtle detail, not really examined until the later half of the season, but it is good. Do I like Pam I Am as a character? No. Again, I found her very flat. Yeah, the fact that she was just trying to work and do her job, hey, power to you. The part where she doesn't seem interested in anything else, even her own son, and even the parts where she finally did kind of warm up to him, it just felt kind of rigid. I don't blame the voice actress or the writing so much. I don't blame that. I mean, they have to take up some of the blame, I guess, but I just think it was tricky because trying to make a strong female character is just so tricky for people. She can't be interesting and competent, apparently. Which is a really bad double standard for female characters, but we move on. Pam I Am, you did not impress me. Your hair impresses me. How Sam can get through everything with his funny shenanigans. That was alright. Honestly, I want to see more of Sam being a con man and seeing how he makes money. That part I was interested in. I didn't get that. Instead, Sam was like a spy sidekick because his mom just couldn't shake him. Like Guy. Oh, and where was Guy M.I. in all this? Well, something I'm not crazy excited about was Guy married Michelle. Does that feel... See, I'm not fond of it because in this season, Michelle, who is so boring, it's funny kind of character, she is kind of just pushed to the background. You don't see her until the second to last episode again. She's nearly forgotten about. And I was like, aw, I kind of miss you, lady. Diane Keaton, you did a really good job. So that was disappointing. Oh, she got married, and then that's it. Her personality, we're not interested in. That was too bad. But Guy somehow goes into a new country where he is becoming their inventor for, he wants to say a defense, but dude, all your gadgets blow up, so it can't be a big surprise they hired you to blow things up. No one told him that because it just seems so obvious. That's oh, Guy. But Guy is still doing really well in this season, or at least he's being interesting as, instead of dealing with Sam, he's now hanging out with E.B., his new stepdaughter. And I think their relationship was portrayed pretty genuine. Yeah. It's polite with a little bit of responsibility towards each other, a little emotional responsibility that no one really expects to meet, but they still both kind of hope for. EB doesn't mind Guy, and that's as best as he can hope for. But he still takes care of her really well. That part was nice. That part where they can get along and talk, and, he respects EB, he loves EB, but he doesn't try too hard to show it. He just kind of does the whole, hey, you need some money, you're going outside, don't talk to strangers. That's basically all you need to do with some kids. That's all kids really need. You show they care. EB, she actually did still have a pretty good, side story in all this. Her thing is where she hears about the war between the country that they're living in now and the other country, the Ukes and the Zooks. And she has enough, wisdom in her cute little, 11-year-old mind to question, is it really that bad on the other side? She doesn't completely fall for the propaganda. And, she just meets somebody on, the giant, Great Wall that's from the other side, and he's a cute boy. That helps a little bit, but it's just more, that was simply nice that you have to wonder, where is the niceness missing from this whole situation? So yeah, EB meets a boy, and luckily he is portrayed in a pleasant tone. At first, he seems like a pretentious wannabe emo kid, but yeah, there's actually a very pleasant young man to hang around with. He doesn't mind breaking into stuff. He has enough critical thinking himself that EB doesn't have to dumb herself down at any time. No, they see each other as equals, and it's really sweet. It is. And how they learn about stuff together, when they go to the museum, they go to the hidden section, is really interesting. It's probably my favorite part. Well, second, top 2 favorite parts of this season, really. That was good. Let's see. My number 1 favorite part of this season was when Sam I Am, they have grown incredibly close in their spy adventure thing and all that, and they join up again with Guy and EB, and EB is furious at Guy because, he has loyalties to the country that he's working for, and she's starting to have sympathy and loyalties for her boyfriend's country, and yeah, he's not even arguing with her, he's just putting his foot down, and she is being incredibly rude in response. At one point I was like, whoa, EB, that's so not cool. Guy, having more patience than I do, doesn't get angry. He kind of just grumbles and takes and tries to explain himself. EB does not take anything, and nor should she. Why should she give him a break when he is calling her naive and her ignorant when he is not listening to any other possibilities? EB is not a dumb kid. She is not easily swayed. He needs to give her a little more credit on that side. But again, EB, he's your stepdad. He's a decent dad. Whew, you are grilling him. But not only was that really interesting, was also Guy did not like Sam's mom from the beginning, and the more she talks, even when it's just, casual conversation, the more he hears how she just is completely indifferent to everything, and he does not trust her at all. And then when Guy tries to confront Sam about it, it is really hard, because it's not just that Sam wants to look on the bright side or anything. No, it's just he's putting all of his eggs in his basket. He's emotionally invested in his mom and the life they'll take and just what the rest of this means and how everything he's done leads up to this. And it's just the embarrassing thing of where he has not asked her all these questions because he's scared of the answers. That was strong, and that is what I love about this series. But that was only in 1 episode. Oh, this whole time I was hoping for more Guy Am I and Sam I Am's friendship. That's really what I rewatched the show for. I didn't get that, but it is nice to know that at the end of the season, they still have a close friendship that really, really challenges each other, and they're emotionally there for each other, and I found that very special. The story altogether, here's a big spoiler. They changed the ending to the Ukes versus Zeus conflicts, the Butter Wars from the original Dr. Seuss book. From what I remember, I didn't reread the source material when I saw this season, but from what I remember, because it's similar to the Lorax, was where after selling weapons to both countries blow each other up. Now, the citizens exist because, they go down to the basements, they avoid explosions and bombs and such like that, but they come back to surface to see everything, is gone, is destroyed, the wall's destroyed, and no one can really remember who's who, and they're just left thinking, wow, all this destruction was stupid. It's not even said that. It's just more of the complete barrenness of their life. It's like, ah, God, it's all gone. All of it. That was not in this season. No, they decided to give it a happy ending and some weird thing to fix the whole setup and such. And I found that to be a bit of a... Yeah, I felt jerked around. I wanted consequences to these people's very serious actions. I wanted to see that. I didn't want a happy ending, if I'm totally honest. I wanted a compromised ending, at least. But I didn't get that, and I was disappointed. It's the same disappointment I got from when they made that terrible CG Lorax movie years back, where the Lorax, it ends where the Onceler tells you it's up to you to make a difference. Give the audience a chance to really think, is it their responsibility, or what can I ask of their government to change? This movie did not do that. This movie being the Lorax, and this season of Green Eggs and Ham did not do that. And that is too bad. The season altogether, it is tricky to combine goofy antics of this Dr. Seuss world with the very serious and very suave antics of the spy world. Do I think it, was balanced well? I do not. I think the silliness kind of spoils the serious spy theme they're going for, even though Pam and Sam went on a lot of interesting places that remind you of old spy movies. Though, honestly, I just mostly know that from all the spy episodes of the DuckTales. I'm not a big spy fan, so maybe that's what was missing for me. But, yeah, story-wise, this season did not deliver hard-hitting for me. I still love the characters, I do, but it didn't really get me like it could have, and that's just too bad. Will there be a third season? No, it seemed pretty wrapped up in the end. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, Netflix is having trouble. They wrapped up what the characters really wanted at the end. And that's alright. Do I recommend Green Eggs and Ham, both seasons, to anyone? No. I want to, but I don't think people have the patience to go through all the silliness to get to the good meat of it. That's too bad. But Green Eggs and Ham, for what you were, I loved you. I thought you were good. Even if your second season wasn't as hard-hitting, it still continued with the taste of something I liked. So that was cool.